There is a magical operation of maximum importance. The initiation of a new aeon. When it becomes necessary to utter a word, the whole planet must be bathed in blood. Ah, yes. Welcome to Deadhaus Whispers.
Greetings, everyone. I am Calypso, and welcome back to Deadhaus Whispers. That intro to this starting thing is so relaxing. I almost fell asleep. But yes, welcome back to Deadhaus Whispers, where we talk everything Deadhouse Sonata related, be it books, movies, TVs, video games, yada yada yada. And as always, I am joined by my other host, Faceless Mike.
Hello, greetings, welcome. Mike's just doing all the stuff in the background. Welcome.
Yep, every time he sets up in the background. So yeah, this week we're actually going to be talking about another Deadhouse Sonata audio drama that dropped yesterday, and it's so good. It's so good. It's called Of Luck. And yeah, I love it, man. Like, I'm loving these things. I think the story, they're the good amount of length, they're the right amount of length without being so
We've gotten to
overdrawn.
we've gotten to movie level proportions.
Yeah, definitely. There's music. The music, whoever did the music in this episode is fantastic. Like, there's some great ambient music going on. The voice acting is once again top notch. It's just great all around. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Like each one of them now, they're like the bones of half an hour.
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
talking in and around half an hour each, which I think is nuts. When you put it all together, by the time this game comes out, it will have more background lore than most AAA releases do when they launch, like entirely
Yeah.
in the game. This will be pre-background lore from even before the game starts.
Yeah, exactly. Not to mention all the stuff that will come afterwards. But no, this one Of Luck centers around, well, I guess previously in the episode, in the episode where with the Anai, Alaric travels to meet the Anai, like a tribal people. He discovers a moon door. He goes through the moon door. He discovers a strange object called the Crucible. And in this episode of Luck, he decides to do some experiments with the Crucible, and hijinks ensue. And there's some great banter back and forth with him and the ghoul once again, reinforcing that buddy cop drama.
I want to
That
see
is,
that. I want to
I
see
want to
that
see it
show.
too. Even if it's a joke on April Fool's Day, I want a buddy cop drama with Alaric and the ghoul.
Oh, it'd be so fun. I have a weird feeling, you know dang well George would totally be up for that, and the rest of the guys.
100%.
And just a shout out if any of them are listening, because I know George watches these from time to time and he likes to catch up. He told me about that last night. Hi George, hi Chris, and everyone else involved.
Hey,
Y'all are killing it,
yeah,
figuratively and literally.
great job, everyone. Like, it's great. It's great. Like, George, keep going strong, man. You're good. You're good. I loved it was actually kind of funny. This episode was pretty funny too. There was some banter, or some like talk with him and the soldiers, and like these soldiers burst into Alaric's laboratory because some stuff happens with the Crucible, and he's trying to cover it up. And it's very like, it reminded me of gosh, what is it? Of What We Do in the Shadows, where like those
Yeah.
bumbling idiot cops walk in, and like clearly there's stuff wrong going on here, but they just completely are oblivious to it all. It's great. It's great.
I got my Italian job fix off that. You've only gone and blown the bloody roof off.
Yeah, yeah,
How those were put in, but I know it's meant to be mildly serious, but a bit more tongue in cheek. But I
yeah.
really enjoyed that. So we can give a brief little summary because you should check it out because nothing we say could ever come close to like getting the first
Actually
hand
listen.
experience. So the way the chronicles have been going with the latest ones, we're getting like readings from Alaric's diary about how things have progressed. After season 1, it's basically the adventures of Alaric after he's captured the ghoul and his progression onto that. As I don't want to spoil the story, but it will unfold itself and make more sense once it's all together. So we're getting Alaric's diaries, and this is a bit after he has gotten this crucible with the help of Venduk from the Anai. Much to Venduk's reluctance, he thought it was a bad idea. So he gets this crucible and he brings it back to the lab, and shenanigans ensue because you've got a primitive being trying to understand advanced technology.
Yeah.
That's the best way I think you can put it, really. What's this? Sometimes when I watch this stuff like the radio play, I get slightly depressed or overwhelmed by the amount of talent I'm watching, and then knowing I still haven't found a thing I excel at just yet. That could be Deadhaus. 10.
Yeah, you can be a Deadhaus
be-
streamer. It just, you know, be a Deadhaus streamer and then just show off your Deadhaus talents.
Hey, there's a load of people that make money just off streaming games on Twitch. They get their
Yeah.
game and then they roll with it because you either have to be funny, really, really bad, or really, really good.
Yeah. I definitely think when they enable content creation for Deadhaus, whenever that is, be it like map design or whatever, modding, I think that'd
I
be
know
something
that's
cool
a big priority.
to like stream. That'd be really cool to stream because, you know, you could just show all that stuff off. I know that does pretty well depending on the game.
I'm really curious to see about how much my Twitch viewers love or hate me based on what they do with the stream interaction.
Yeah. I'm just
find
what?
Deadhaus. I just find Deadhaus, find several one of tarot cards, and then flip them for
$10,000. Hey, no, 100%, no joke.
One-off ones, huh?
Yeah, exactly. You could even do like those reject tarot cards, like the jokey ones where it's, you know, like the Hierophant or whatever, but it's just like a picture of like a cartoon donkey or something.
We've mentioned April Fools. That's come into my head twice.
Yeah.
About things that could be really funny to do in Deadhaus. We were joking in my Discord earlier, Calypso. We were saying that, like, you know, it'd be funny to troll people because we joked about this last night with George when Tim was there, that it would be funny if like the ending of Deadhaus was just like a crazy left turn. And then we brought up in my Discord today, like the start of like age 11 or whatever, right? Years down the line, it's just you started, all of a sudden your character's eyes start off, you're finally awake. God damn it, Todd Howard.
I would love that.
Todd Howard, you did it again.
The ending of Deadhaus should be the ending of Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh, they all get arrested.
Yeah. That should be it.
Or Monkey Island.
Oh yeah,
Everyone
Monkey Island. Yeah.
Wakes up and comes out of the carnival, right?
Gosh, the new Monkey Island, I guess, is doing pretty well. There's a new Monkey Island out, everybody. You should check it out.
It is very much for fans of point and click and other Monty Python levels of humor, because it is very British humored. If you like British humor, it is great. A lot of people seem confused. There's that big cultural divide still in the US. There's people that get British humor, and then people that are just looking at it perplexed, going, "I don't understand."
Yeah, that's still a thing. That's always going to be a thing. What's this say? Getting arrested. I'll go out swinging against the Holy Beast in Mortal Kombat. And speaking of Holy Beasts, the ghoul in this episode, it provides a little bit more information. Alaric does that thing that I thought Alaric was gonna do, where he uses the ghoul's nose and like sense of smell, because it's so great to sort of figure out what the technology is. And the ghoul can't pinpoint or figure out what the crucible is, or if there even is a crucible, because the ghoul doesn't have any eyes or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
well, this ghoul doesn't have eyes.
Yeah. So
they're not
that
necessary for ghouls, really.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. That, like, wait a minute, he has this technology and the ghoul doesn't know what it is. That's crazy. And then the ghoul, there's a creepy part at the end where like the ghoul gets out of his cage or something, right? Or it's dark. It's dark, I think. And Alaric's like, "Oh, where are you going?" Blah, blah, blah. And like Frankenstein stuff is going on, and it's a lot. Please listen to this episode. It's really good.
I thought a lot of what the ghoul brought to the table was fascinating. For example, we, the
Yeah.
audience, understand what this is. We know what the crucible is. We're familiar with whites. We get the idea, right? This
Mhm.
is, we know it. He talks about swirling green energy. We know that's essence. We're aware of
Yeah.
this, right? But
Yeah.
Alaric has no idea. These are new concepts to him. He's not familiar with any of this at all yet. He's like, oh, it's meant to be a weapon. And the ghoul's like, no, it's a prison, showing that there's a far, far deeper understanding and meaning to these things that Alaric just completely blows over. Oh, yes, of course it is. Look, I can see a little guy in there, blah, blah, blah. And he starts making jokes and all like that, and he doesn't understand. But then when he sets it off, the scream sounded very
Yeah.
familiar to
I
the
liked that.
Wraith.
I love that detail. I love that the whole, oh, wait a minute, the screams of the Wraith are here. What? Like, that was cool. That
Essence,
was,
because it's
yeah.
essence, it's
Yeah.
pure essential energy.
Hmm.
So what does that do? What does that mean? My other favorite one being when Alaric was saying about through the stones, and he goes like, "Ah, waystones." He's like, "Wait,
Yeah.
wait, you know what these are?" He's like, "Yeah, of course we do." And it's like here, this like, oh, so these use them, all right? Then he says, "This doesn't bring you underground; it brings you to different places, far to the lands far away, beyond the sea, beyond the sky." But Alaric dismisses it. He thinks the ghoul's talking nonsense. But that is a
Yeah.
major lore drop when you think about it.
Hmm.
That's very telling about what things are. Now, going to bend your mind a little as well. When we go back to the previous episode, Venduk and the Anai don't seem to be afraid of the dead. Now, people misunderstood when I brought this up earlier. It's like, yeah, but they're not afraid of death. I didn't say death, the dead.
Yeah.
They are nomadic wanderers, but they have no defenses or didn't present any defenses against the dead, which either means they work with them or they have some type of protection against them. They don't see them as a threat because they're not very overly concerned with the way they live. So they either have ways to repel them or they have something that they can do to appease the dead.
Yeah.
That I think is very interesting and most people didn't touch upon.
I think they're magically inclined and they're just hiding it because of the Thracian Empire or the Thracian Empire and like how anti magic or this or that they are because they think it's part of the Deadhaus. I find it ironic that the eyeless monster knows that there are other planets and life on them. But the man with sight does not. Yeah, that's interesting
But the
too.
man with sight doesn't.
I mean, the one the man the fuck. What's that saying? The in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And I guess the ghoul uses his nose as an eye, sort of. Yeah.
But he said everything. He told him about there was soot, there was the dust of many days on him on his feet. There was there was dirt that hadn't seen sunlight.
Hmm. I love that.
So,
Like, see, all that little stuff is so cool. Like the pinpointing of the just the details. Because
and
maybe
the
because the
fact that
ghouls.
Alaric tossed him the flesh that had been reanimated. It's like, did that do anything? He's like, you can't hurt us this way.
Yeah, yeah, I thought that was great. I love it. I love it. I
That's
love
because
the
the ghoul knew exactly what it was. He's just sitting
yeah.
shut. He's just sitting going,
I like the experiments Alaric did with the crucible and how the fish. I thought the fish thing was awesome. It was really cool.
you know, it was a case of let's throw everything in it and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think the flesh thing, like the image of I have this like this piece of like bacon flesh or whatever, and I'm gonna try and reanimate it, and it moves, and it's got this twitchy thing going on. It was really creepy, and then he throws it to the ghoul, and ghoul eats it. But I thought the fish was neat. The penultimate of this episode is Lark finally decides to do human testing, and he gets like the freshest cadaver, and then he struggles to get the body inside, chains the body up, hovers the crucible like above the dead human's heart, leaves it there, decides nothing happens, and then comes back and he's gone. It's a Frankenstein moment, but and it's dark, and the ghoul is taunting Alaric, and
I love
dun
the
dun
idea of him
dun.
bringing the crossbow to bed. The silver spur
Yeah,
crossbow of him walking up the stairs with like this blanket type thing over him, snuggling this little crossbow as he's going up the stairs. Like, what the hell's wrong with him? It's like maybe he knows shit you don't. Why is the
yeah.
Inquisitor going? Why is the Grand Inquisitor going to bed with a silver tipped crossbow?
Ooh.
I don't feel safe.
The test with the life mouse would that mean that even if he has aimed the crucible at his own face, nothing would have happened to him? Oh, to the mouse that was alive.
No. So here's the thing. Remember, he was experimenting. The crucible had three settings. It was like off,
Yeah.
it was like primed, and then there was fire, like as in column of green flame
Yes,
exploding
and then
from
he
it.
blows off the roof
Everything,
of his
yeah,
laboratory.
everything he was doing was in primed. It wasn't set off, it was primed, and that's when the stuff was escaping. So yeah, if he put his hand over it when it was like that, nothing would have happened. Now, stuck his head over and hit fire, probably blown to pieces.
Yeah.
Although I have a feeling that could be a fun and interesting special move the White might be able to do, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Freaking suicide bomb yourself or whatever. Like, seeing it makes me question like so we know about whites from the Of Whites episode, and the crucible is clearly the precursor to that.
Yes.
So when does Of Whites take place within, or does Of Whites take place way after when he does all of his experiments years later?
Well, the fun part of that
You know?
is, and I don't want to be annoying with the lore, but you can all tell it. One, the start of every episode gives a date and a year.
Oh yeah.
So you'll be
Oh
able to
yeah.
tell that.
Duh.
But just to spell it out, because I know it's going to be a lot of work if people want to go and look up each particular one. So season 1 would be looking back. These are notes. This is what Alaric said about vampires. This is what Alaric
Okay.
said about whites. This is what Alaric said about blah. Season 2 is this is a story. Here's the start of it, and we're going along the journey. So
Yeah.
that way you can take it as that, because the notes, like let's say on Of Whites or of Ghouls, these are written in hindsight. So these were
Mhm.
written after,
Yeah.
and then he wrote down what had happened. Keep in mind, this isn't a story being told from Alaric. Like we're listening to his notes,
To his notes. To his
because he
journal, yeah.
said, I didn't, like he wrote down, I didn't say what I did to trigger the configuration because that information is too dangerous for anyone else to read.
Yeah.
So we don't know because it was not written down.
Does Alaric I can't remember. I gotta listen to it again. Does Alaric explain what the crucible looks like?
Vaguely.
Vaguely. Because I got
It's a
very
small.
Hellraiser puzzle box
No, you'd imagine
vibes. Or
the
is
way
it
he
like a
described it,
trapezoid?
it's like probably a bit bigger than a basketball.
Okay.
It's spherical, but he describes like there's contraptions and stuff on it. So it's not like just a silver ball. But what
Yeah.
he did describe well is at the front of it, there's a glass, like a looking glass porthole type thing. And it is incredibly resilient and he can't damage it with anything.
And if we go, and I'm Googling this, if we go and Google the Whites of Deadhaus Sonata, actually, I wonder if that's actually going to show up anything on Google. What the heck?
That sounds like the worst calendar ever.
It's,
The Whites of Deadhaus
the Whites of
Sonata.
Deadhaus Sonata.
Winter calendar.
So what's going on, Google? My
Let's
Google's
check.
freaking out. It doesn't want to do anything for me.
I gotcha.
But yeah, the Whites look like.
Yeah, you could get a look at some of the concept art. That gives you it's a fairly astute approximation of one.
Yeah, of what the globe thingy looks like. Because what the fuck?
In my mind's eye, I saw a double pyramid, 8-sided. No, that's Varric's octahedron there, that is.
Yeah.
No, if you just look up like the Deadhaus Sonata one, even on the main page, the main concept pictures for the White, It gives you a
Yeah, there
very
we go.
good
There we
idea of
go.
what it is. Even
Yeah,
the ones with giant stick man.
Mhm.
The really thin, tall looking, slender man
That's
looking
my
guys.
that's like my one of my favorites is the really thin looking whites, the creepier ones, the
Mm.
ones that have all the spikes or whatever, like an angry Sonic. Like that's cool. Um, yeah, no, see, now I just want the next episode because like that's if that's one thing that these episodes have going for them is that they leave you wanting more and like kind
The
of like
next
on the edge of
two are going to be story mind blowing.
I bet. I believe it.
Angry Sonic, you mean Shadow? Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
JNU, and that's always the case. Yes, it is. Although, here's the fun one. Once this season is over, who wants to join me in Discord and sit down and binge the whole lot in one go?
That'll be fun. That'd be fun.
Longest movie ever. It's like, what
Right?
is it? The amount that this done, it'll be well over 3 hours.
Oh yeah, it'll
At
be
least.
well 30 minutes an episode. 2 episodes is an hour.
Ish.
30-ish.
I'd like to binge that. That would be really fun. I wonder could we get away with putting them back to back on a stream here, just like giving silly commentary over it.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Under the pond, that's what I'm looking forward to. Anyone, by the way, just because we didn't get to do this at the start, if you're new to this or have not been around before, don't forget, check out deadhoussonata.com. Join the Discord because you can join the Discord of all the chaos where we talk about the lore and everything on the official Deadhaus Discord and get in on everything basically because we're getting closer. We're getting closer. So people might want to start being around more for the next while for some of the reveals that might be coming down the line. I definitely encourage it.
The Dark Collection theory, where you did that for like 6 hours to get through the entire thing. What is the Dark Collection? What is that?
Maybe the Dark Pictures anthology.
Oh, yeah. Those PlayStation games, like.
So a lot of people don't know this, but I've kind of a tradition now of every year when there's a new Dark Pictures game, on launch day or within days of it, depending on what day of the week it falls, I will sit and stream the whole game with my stupid, silly commentary as well. And my girlfriend joins me and we make complete shows of ourselves making jokes about everything that's going on. And it started years ago, actually, when I was first beginning on Twitch. I streamed the original one, Until Dawn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the name of it. I couldn't think of
That
the
took
name.
me like 8 streams. That was a while. That was long. That was back when Faceless Mike had to wear a mask, and it took a lot longer because I could only do about maximum an hour and a half without being able to have breathing and heat issues on the thing. But now, we don't even put our cameras on or anything. We just like stream the game so you get the full view. Yeah. And that'll be interesting because little did I know, I found out over the last week. When was it actually? I'll give you the exact date because it was the 30th. Yep, there should be a new one. I can't believe they missed it for Halloween. But last Sunday, was it Sunday was the 30th? Yes, Sunday was the 30th. That was my Twitch-iversary, as they call it in the business. Would you believe I've been streaming on this bloody platform under Faceless Mike since 2014?
I should get back to streaming. I haven't streamed in a long time.
2014, dude, that's a while. Like that creeps up on you in a bit. There's been a lot of changes.
Yeah, dude. That's almost 10 years. That's crazy.
Oh my God, it's nearly 10. I didn't even think
man,
about
it's
that.
Almost 10 years.
Oh,
next year is 23, dude.
Need to start planning something for the 10-year anniversary. Holy crap. But yeah, one of the things I tweeted out that I thought was amazing was like when I started streaming on Twitch, like I'd streamed before, but I dabbled in it. I didn't do it properly. I didn't have a setup. I was just kind of messing around. And then when I done the Faceless Mic one, it was actually when we were doing a lot of horror stuff. We were on a horror website and we were doing conventions. It was big into the horror scenario. But Calypso, you're kind of streaming now. But yeah, so like I was streaming and just spitting around and stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take this seriously as a hobby because I've always wanted to do it because I love gaming. Like growing up, I think a lot of people are streamers because they grew up with that couch co-op with their friends and they just used to make snarky remarks and stupid comments and it was really funny. So it's like, well, let's take that to the internet. And
Yeah.
that's where it comes from. So in that time, I went from a major career change personally, which I'm not going to explain on here, but I went through a major career change personally. And then we moved from horror to more video games. And I would, like, if you'd have told me back in 2014 that in a few years' time, not only will you be able to stream and have an audience streaming Blood Omen Legacy of Kain on PC, but you'll be working with the dude that made it
Yeah, dude.
on a
That's
new
really awesome.
version. I'm like, holy crap. Like, because things happen incrementally and you don't take a look back and see how far you've come. And I've gotten to the point where I actually got to live out a childhood dream of being able to work in the games industry, which is not a huge leap. People tell you it is. It's not. Go get skilled up. You can get jobs. There's plenty of jobs in the gaming industry. But then getting lucky enough to work with a guy that I idolized as a hero growing up, like, that's nuts.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
that's pretty awesome, dude. That's
Like,
pretty
did you think years ago, Calypso, because I know you and half of the chat here have as well, if someone told you a few years ago, hey, you know that game you really like? Would you like to sit in a Discord and chat with the guy that made it?
Yeah, I never thought in a million years that would happen, man. Like never in a million
indie
years.
games, maybe on a smaller scale, but someone of that caliber is nuts.
Like, yeah, never in a million years. Because it's unfathomable, I think, with how far like this sort of streaming technology thing or whatever has come to where it's like you don't really think about it or understand it really until something big happens, or unless you're like Mr. Beast who analyzes like everything every 5 seconds, then you'll understand. But I think just as a casual person or a casual streamer like me, or Varric or someone else, you don't really get it, like, and I haven't streamed in a long time. Holy moly.
Casual streamer, Mr.
Casual streamer.
Mr. Coy over here. I can see what's on the views you get in your YouTube channel.
Nah, hardly any. Honestly, I'm surprised I've gotten as many subscribers and views as I have recently. But then it's like that's the other thing. If you guys don't follow me on YouTube, you can follow me on YouTube. Just look up Deadhaus Sonata, anything, and chances are I will come up. My channel is Calypso.
And he's on Twitter there. If you go that, he tweets it out. He tweets them out frequently.
At Necrolibriatus, my old channel name, before I just went back to my regular username that I go by for everything. It's like, if you talk about something that someone's going to like, of course it's going to get 1,000 views, but then some people will get 30, and it's very weird. And we were talking about the algorithm earlier, and thank you for that.
Most developers from games we love don't work in the industry anymore.
That's also true. Or they moved on to something else.
A sad indictment of how the industry works.
Yeah. Like I think a lot of them, even a little bit, and kudos to Dennis for being so nice. Yeah, Dennis is awesome. I think it's crazy that like Amy Hennig, I know everyone wants Amy Hennig to come back to Legacy of Kain, but I don't even know if she's working in video games anymore. Is she? I think she's working at Google or something.
I don't see Amy wanting to come back because, okay, this is where I'm going to get even more hate.
It's like,
but let's do it. This is my platform that me and you share.
Yeah,
I can do this. Okay, the Legacy of Kain community is going to kill me, but keep in mind, I'm covered in the tattoos. I am one of you. I'm just speaking from experience. Okay, it's not happening. It's just not happening. The dream you have, as amazing as it might be, cannot happen. Will there be remakes or reboots? Most likely. It's almost guaranteed. With the way the industry has gone, they're rebooting absolutely everything.
Yep.
I'd be shocked if it didn't happen. But the people that done the thing that you really love are gone. Some of them don't work together. Some of them may not ever want to work together. A lot of them are dead. Most of them seen what we love. Like, we loved it. This was a major part of our lives. Some of them only seen it as a paycheck. Keep that in mind. This was just a job to some people. You see, now we're at an age now where people grew up in the gaming industry and want to make video games because they absolutely love video games. Most of the developers, even for companies you don't like, got into the industry because they love making video games. It's other people that ruin it later on the line. We will
Yeah.
that's another discussion for another day, but that's normally some type of managerial department that ruins things. But everyone, even the people that make the churned out games every year, do actually love what they're doing and want to make the things better. They're working really, really hard. I work with this in two areas. These people work really hard on something they really love, right? So keep that in mind. Back in the day, a lot of people seen this as an easy cash grab because it earned a lot of money for not a lot of work. And that's why they walked out of it. The ones that are still here have a passion for it. Like I can tell you, that's where Dennis got into gaming. Dennis was a big gamer nerd like we are. And that's why he wanted to get into video games. There's a lot in the industry like that. Not everyone in the industry is like that, unfortunately. But to what I was saying with Legacy of Kain, dude, a lot of the people that were there are dead, unfortunately, because like it was back in 1995, for God's sake, when this thing started. Like, there's time. The other side is, I don't think the industry would work for the way you think it would. Like, at the moment, me and Calypso have like waxed philosophical on this. Calypso done a great video actually about the wishes, like what I'd wish to see and all like that. That's very
Yeah.
good, like theorizing. Realistically, we're probably going to get some type of ports, some type of like, oh, HD remaster of like Legacy of Kain games on a cartridge, or even if it's just like Soul Reaver 1, 2, and Defiance, or something like that, right? And then, gauged on the popularity of that, you might see companies doing remakes.
Yeah.
Who,
I
when, how, why?
don't
No
know.
idea, because nothing's been discussed yet. And they
I
seem to be
definitely
very transparent, because when they put out that survey, that's not just oh, we want to BS people. That's the, okay, the money people have agreed. So what do you guys want?
Yeah. Yeah. I know specifically, not for any of the other games, but specifically for Soul Reaver 1, they are working on something, whether that's just trying to get the rights back to it, or fix it up, fix the PC port up a little bit, or something with the music and Kurt Harland and his music or whatever. Something with whoever owns the rights to the one song that was on an album
Those
that was
those
released.
games,
Like,
those games like
they're
Soul
doing
Reaver
something with
1.
Soul Reaver 1.
Yeah, let's look at Soul Reaver 1 for a second, right? It's a very linear, direct game. Not shitting on it at all. Like, don't forget,
Yeah.
I played these games too. Big fan of the games too, right? But Soul Reaver is a very trimmed, basic game. You can see what happened. They actually had like a really good game, and then they cut it in half for whatever reasons. People are like, "Oh, money." Could have been a size issue. They mightn't
I
have all
definitely
fit
think it
on
was
a
a size
disc.
issue. Yeah.
There's so many things. Maybe they weren't going to get this half finished, so they're like, "Hey, we can take this bit and make it a game, and we'll do a second one." There's many reasons other than money. Money's a big thing, but it probably cost more money to publish 2 games than it would have been to just publish 1. So you've got that. But Soul Reaver 1 is a very small linear game. You could remake that with a fairly small team to incredibly high standards nowadays. Like a 50 person team from, like, who is it, Bloober?
Yeah.
Who are the other
Yeah.
ones? Could do an incredible job. Or who was the
Well,
ones that done the Demon Souls one?
yeah. Blue Point.
Blue Point. Any of these groups could do phenomenal work in very short time with something that's that short and linear. Like, if they're just doing a direct one-to-one remake like they did with Demon Souls. But I
Yeah.
don't think they are. I think if they're going to move forward with this, they want to enhance it and make it bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blood Omen 1, I think, would be a problem, because if you go to
Well,
modernize Blood Omen 1, like, Blood Omen is significantly bigger game than Soul Reaver. The difference is
yeah.
people look at Soul Reaver wrong because they're like, oh, but it's 3D and all. Yeah, but it's a small, short game
It
with
was
small
3D
enclosed
when
area.
3D was still early. Like, that's
Yeah,
the other thing. Like,
yeah. Blood Omen, if you look at it, it's 2D, and the world is massive. Like,
yes.
it's massive for the size and time that game was released. It was huge. So like if you imagine them doing like a Demon Souls version of that where they take like Blood Omen and make it a big 3D game, that's a AAA studio and 4 years of work minimum.
Yeah, but
4 to 6 years minimum.
let me let me remind you, my friend. If you go and you look up a picture of Team Silent, who worked on Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3 back in the 90s and the early 2000s, guess how many people were on that team?
Googling now.
There were like 7 people tops.
But
For
all
team-
again,
for
other
Team
ones,
Silent
all
back in the day.
fairly good veterans, though. They all knew what they were doing.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
You
See,
don't
like
get those nowadays. Now
No.
you will have maybe 2 or 3 experienced devs or programmers and a load of newbies out of college. Now, don't crap
Yeah.
on the newbies out of college. Everyone starts somewhere. Remember that.
Yeah.
But that's the way they normally make it up in order to get things rolling.
Like that's
Unless you're Sony Santa Monica and then you just have a small army of
yeah,
devs,
exactly.
you know.
I know that's like Tem's bringing up Blizzard a lot here. I miss Blizzard's old model by Gamers for Gamers. Like that's a thing.
Yeah.
But think about it. Diablo 1 and 2 were developed by a team of like 20 people. And it started out with just a dude and some of his friends, like 5 people, just working on a game outside of fresh out of college in like his house. And then they,
But that's what
got a bigger
games.
team and they started
That's
going. That's what it
Diablo
was back in the
1.
day. Now
Diablo 1 prime
a small
example.
team
Yeah.
is like 100 people now. That's a small team, is 100 people.
Well, back in the
Like-
day, it didn't cost as much. It could be
No, it
made
didn't.
quick and
So-
easy,
so-
and then
yeah.
it was pumped out quick and easy, which means bad games were bad, but good games were really good because it was a very simple premise. Now, a game studio is on par with a production studio for a movie or
definitely.
for an
It's- yeah,
album and stuff.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people, a lot of moving pieces and stuff like that. Like, it's never been easier to make a game, but it's also way bigger, harder, more competitive market.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at the App Store. Doesn't matter what type of phone, Apple, Android, whatever. Just open the App Store and scroll. That'll tell you everything you need to know, you know?
Like, I know we've talked a lot about the gaming industry on this podcast, and it's just,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Like, I think I was watching a thing on Black and White, a documentary on Black and White, like last week, with Peter Molyneux and all the old guys from Lionhead and stuff. Did interviews, and when they were working on Black and White, mind you, it was a small team, but everything had to be done by hand. They needed a guy purely for artificial intelligence programming. They needed a guy purely for 3D graphics creation and design. They needed a guy for that. Like, they needed a guy for writing and music and blah, 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 blah. But it was a small team and you had to do everything by hand. Nowadays, you and me could get together and we could make a video game with Unreal Engine or Unity. And that, like, sort of carving it out of your own isn't there anymore because you have a middle engine to go to, but that just makes game development easier. But I think we've mentioned a lot of this before. It's like, it's not about the developer anymore. It's about not about the engine or whatever. It's about the developer behind it. Tem said something here. The video game industry
Pull it back up.
earns more. Thank you. The video game industry earns more profit than Hollywood. Liking games is the norm. Liking movies is fringe and nerdy now. Kind of. There's still big movie nerds out there.
But you see, the difference is the age. So people get really confused with that because right now, like, we'll take America. America is a perfect example because America, I don't know if you realize, America is like the #1 gaming market for the most part. Like, you've got Russia and China, but like right now, like America, like 99% of most of the money will come from America for any particular video game, right? If you look at the average American public and start talking to people on the street, most of them will think they don't like video. Oh, that's for kids. Why would I do that? But the vast majority of Americans play video games. It's because it's a generational and age thing. Give it another 20 years and us old folks will be the ones in the nursing homes playing video games and everyone will consider it the norm. It's a passing of the torch, you know? Video games make more money is because it's better and easier to monetize a video game than anything else. Like, once you buy an album, you've bought the album. I think you're muted there, dude.
All right.
Yeah. Once you buy an album, you've bought the album. You can listen to it 100 times. Like, Spotify doesn't charge you Like Spotify gets a subscription service now, but imagine if Apple charged you like 1 cent every time you wanted to play the song, right? That's a horrible idea. Don't take it. Someone out there is listening is going
Watch,
to
someone from
do
Apple is going to do exactly that.
but like that's what the video game industry is doing, and it's good and bad. Like there's the thing itself isn't inherently evil, it's how it's used. So once you've watched a movie, you've watched the movie. We had a way to monetize movies, it was called renting.
Yeah.
Blockbuster and stuff is dead. Our renting now is Netflix, where you're paying for
Yeah,
a service,
where you paying
right?
a subscription. Yeah.
But if you buy a DVD, you own the DVD. But the way video games work is not only when you watch the DVD, if you want to watch the special features, you're paying more money. But it's in such a way that you're quite happy to pay more money, you know? Because if you don't, the game just goes bankrupt and the company goes out of business. But they figured out a way to make it more accessible. Free to play is how the future goes, because it's no barrier to entry. And then they'll stay if it's good. If they stay and it's good, you can charge people for different various in-game items, cosmetics, DLC, whatever your mechanics are. You can do it that way. Free-to-play games earn exponentially more than the AAA ones, the standard AAA $70, to the point where standard AAA $70 ones are starting to throw the microtransactions in. It's common.
No, yeah, exactly.
So,
they are.
you know?
They're throwing in a bunch of DLC. Thanks, fucking Todd Howard.
But take a look at what is the biggest selling game in the world. Well, or rather, what makes the most money?
Single player games.
No, but you know what game made the most money?
No. Recently, no.
Grand Theft Auto.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Grand Theft Auto and Skyrim.
Grand Theft Auto has made, as a single piece of media, more money than any singular
And
thing
that's for
in
the
any
online.
other.
That's for the online.
Any other industry thing at all, music, sports, anything. Like, it's made more. And that online component's free to play, by the way. You don't need Grand Theft Auto anymore to get it. You can just go onto like the PlayStation Store and download the online.
I think it's crazy that an entire generation, Grand Theft Auto 5 was the game that they played as kids, and now they feel nostalgic for it when they're teenagers because it's been released and re-released so many times. Like, that's just insane. Same thing with Skyrim. Like there's an entire generation of people who played Skyrim as a kid, and now they're old enough to look back on it nostalgic, and
I can't open my mouth.
Get re-released. Oh man, they're remastering Skyrim. I played this game great as a kid. Like
I can't say anything. Todd Howard got me quite a few
Heroes of Might
times.
and Magic 3.
I bought it on the Switch. I bought it in the PSVR, so I can't say anything about Todd Howard. He has got me a few times.
You are the problem.
Yes, I am the problem, but I did not buy the horse armor.
I think what's crazy is the people who think not crazy. Sorry, VR elitists. It's not crazy. I do believe VR is in the future, but I don't think VR is the future.
VR,
as much as I would like VR to be, I don't think the traditional keyboard and mouse or a regular controller won't replace, or VR won't replace that. VR won't replace a cheap monitor that you can buy, and
it's because it takes you out of reality, which is the point, but that's also the problem. So you're sitting on the couch.
VR truly immerses you in the experience, but the experience is usually short. And
I'd put VR being the video game equivalent of going to the cinema or listening to vinyl. It'll always be there. It'll always be a very important thing, but it will always be niche. It'll probably be of higher quality than most. But again, vinyl records. That's what it is. That's to me.
I love vinyl records, but they're so expensive. And the equipment to run them is so expensive. I want to get a VR because the Oculus Quest Pro just released, and it's $1,500.
Well, it's
for a slight upgrade of the Oculus Quest 2 headset.
Well, that's a lot worse than you seen what they done. They just announced the PSVR 2.
Yeah, it looks awesome though.
It's more expensive than the PS5, which it
requires a PS5 and accessory. Like, so I'm spending $1,000.
Yeah, it's more expensive. Which, don't get me wrong, like, it's probably worth the tech. Right?
Yeah.
it's probably worth it. But like as I was saying, you can't, like, again, right? We're playing video games. I'm sitting on the couch, or maybe it's like a young kid. You're playing a Switch. Mom calls for dinner. Put that down. Pause it. Literally drop it on the table, walk away, and all like that. You have to rig yourself up into VR, and
Yeah.
then you have to come out of it. And then there's also time limits on playing it, because I don't know about the rest of you. It's an hour. I have
Yeah.
played
VR
more than an
VR
hour.
headsets
You
last
will
an hour
pay
or
for
less.
it. It hurts.
Yeah.
Like, it causes problems. You feel a bit sick. Like, I don't get motion sickness, but after an hour, I plugged myself into Skyrim. Big mistake. Big mistake. Great fun playing Skyrim on the PSVR. But there was a certain point I was like, wow, I feel a bit sick, a bit sore. It's like, I'm hungry. I better eat something. I ate something in Skyrim. I was like, wait a minute. No, I'm actually hungry. You start getting the disconnect between reality and all. Or the other one is where you take it after, like, I'm really tired. I've literally
Yeah.
just stood in place for like 2 hours. But your brain is under the illusion that I've been running the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird disconnect, you know?
Boom, you just spent 12 hours in virtual reality slaying dragons. I only have
Yep,
90 minutes to play before dinner. Yeah.
that's
Like
it.
it's like I would like VR to the problem with VR is that the tech that people truly think will be revolutionary to gaming or productivity or whatever with VR is years and years and years away. If that,
Until you can
decades away.
wirelessly until you can wirelessly stream with the headset, so that you
Yeah.
don't need
Until
that
until it
till
looks like a pair of glasses,
yeah.
then it'll never be what people want it to
Yeah,
be.
till you can pick it up off the desk with no cables, put it on your head and use it with like a controller where it's wireless to your PC or console or whatever. And then your internet is strong enough that you can wirelessly stream the games rather than downloading it. Then is when VR will hit its stride. We're just not there yet. We've literally put the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, the tech isn't strong. Most people do not have a PC even slightly strong enough to run VR, you know?
No.
Not
Yeah.
adequately anyway, you
Yeah.
know? I
And
might
if so, like you could like I have a PC, I have a mid-range PC, right?
mhm.
I can play Skyrim at max settings or whatever at 1080p, but for VR you need like double that, I think, even if it's Skyrim, like
I think your
uh
base level is like an RTX 3060.
yeah. I
That's
might
like
experience
base
actual
level.
VR as we dream of it right now, but it will be in
Be
like
in like
50
50
years.
years.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be in a nursing home flying around in a different world like Superman.
Yep.
Exactly. Like
No, you
it
won't.
won't
We'll
be for
still be
decades.
playing Skyrim.
Yeah, God. God. Oh my gosh. Just imagine a Deadhouse VR. A Deadhouse VR experience would be cool. Like
Depends on how it's done.
imagine in VR where you go like this with a controller and you're a vampire sucking blood or something. You know.
Idea is cool. The production of it would be a disaster trying to get all of this right, because you can imagine how long and a big team that would take to get that right. Although,
Mhm.
right, so there is one thing I
No,
had
you
the
don't even see
PSVR, right?
that is one great thing about VR. Hold on one second. The great thing about VR is that like the really good experiences with VR are very short, concise, and like polished to a T experiences. And that's all you really need. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Continue.
That's what I was just actually about
Oh,
to like put out your exact point. I had a thing, or I have a thing on the PSVR called Arkham VR. Don't know if you've seen it. Don't know if you know it.
mm,
Look it up on YouTube. It's great. You won't get the
that's
experience
awesome.
of actually playing it, but it's basically like a weird Batman fever dream, and you get to play through certain key moments in the storyline of it. But just standing there, being in various locations and looking around at things, using your detective mode and like looking at things and working stuff out. And there's a bit like where you're literally holding Penguin off the edge of the building type
Yeah,
stuff, or
that's
like,
very
and it allows for really cool tricks. So they do this in normal 3D video games. When I mean 3D, I mean first person shooters. So think about it in that way. Anything that's in first person, they do this type of illusion. It just hits different in VR though. So there's a particular point where you're Batman and you're in a cage, you're looking at stuff like that, and you're trying to look at things. And every time you turn your head to the right, if you turn back to the left, something has changed. And then you turn back to the right and something has changed. Now it's waiting on you to do that and all, but you personally do like, is that different or something? And then you're looking at your own reflection and that starts to change because it's stuff to do with Scarecrow and all like that. But that hits different when it's in VR than if you're just playing
Yeah.
like a first person game. That really hits different when you start questioning reality. And I keep
Yeah, that's
thinking
very
back to like when you said Deadhaus, I was like, ooh, I wonder, because you all seen what Dennis has done with Eternal Darkness. Like, I think there could be some really
that's exactly what I
crazy shit.
want. I want like a Deadhouse horror experience that, is like an hour long or less if it really has to be. And it's just creepy and it's
I've got
Deadhouse
the
and
pitch. I've
it's
got the pitch.
vampires or whatever,
No, no, no.
whatever.
I've got the pitch. I've got the pitch. Right? It's a 1 hour experience, right? That's what it is. We're doing it like that. We're going to stick with this premise. You're a human caught in a city that's being overrun by the dead, and you've barricaded your house.
Ooh.
You're trying to keep the dead out by any means necessary. And after an hour, if you could survive, let's say some legionnaires like come around to like a back door or something and beat away and will shepherd you off, or they get in and you lose.
Yeah. That'd be
Wouldn't
cool.
that be cool?
Like
Because
a
that's a
Deadhouse
real.
survival, like a Deadhouse survival room or whatever.
There's your survival horror right there.
Yeah.
You know? Especially when you got the AI. So like maybe one time you play it, it's
Yeah.
just a load of ghouls trying to like tear in through the windows and stuff. And another time, without you knowing, the ghouls are there, but then what you think is a centurion comes to the door to help you, but it's actually a vampire.
Yeah.
And you let him
See,
in.
I
You
think it
know,
would be
it
cool
could
if
be
if it
different all the
changed
time.
up. Yeah, if it changed up every time or something. You have maybe a lich trying to force their way into your mind or something and like
Or maybe you
changing
have to
things
mind other
around.
people and the Lich can mind
Yeah.
control one of them.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. See, stuff like that'd be awesome. And see that's where VR like excels, is that it can really hone in on something and and run with it really really well. Like, don't get me wrong, a regular game can do that too, but the immersion that you feel in VR, I will admit, is nothing that a regular game can provide you with.
Yeah.
Like, if you plug in a first person view mod for like The Witcher 3, it might make The Witcher 3 slightly more immersive because you're actually looking around with Geralt's eyes and like the world of The Witcher. But now, if you were in a VR headset and you did that with VR and you're actually looking around with a VR headset in the world of The Witcher, that's like, there's just
Not,
nothing like it. There's
not
nothing
going
like it.
not gonna lie, I spent a good hour and something in Whiterun just like walking around looking at things. I didn't
Yeah.
do anything. I was just like, wow, look, as you get the sense of scale based on your character and stuff, and you wanted to look over. It's
Yeah.
like I wasn't able to just like randomly hook my head over the wall and look down from here before, because you don't do those in first person games. So when you're in VR, you're like, you want to creep up to the ledge and look over. It's like,
Yeah, see, that's the other cool thing. Like the sense of awareness of like and getting lost in like, oh, you actually think there's a fence in front of you, but there isn't actually a fence. But it feels like it because your brain tricks your body into thinking that it's there, and like you can like you said, like peek over or like do this or that behind a corner, like
dude,
stealth games in VR. Like, oh man.
Dude, I've had that. So I have Until Dawn Rush of Blood. By the way, there's a new one, a Dark Pictures one being brought out for the PSVR too. But Until Dawn Rush of Blood, it's you're sitting in like a minecart type thing. It's kind of like from a fairground. It's not quite a roller coaster type thing, but it's kind of like one of the cars. It's like
Yeah.
halfway down the minecart. But basically, you're sitting down, and you can see you're sitting down, right? And you've got your guns, and you're on a track, and you're going shooting things. It's real fun. You talk about getting immersed in that feeling about it. There's two particular parts in it, dude, where you like go up and down, like onto these long
Okay.
tracks. I actually got that weird feeling of my stomach sinking.
Yeah, just
And you get on
yeah,
a
it's
roller
crazy.
coaster, even though I was sitting on my own couch. But I got that kind of whoa feel of going up over the thing and shooting down that you get on a roller coaster. So
Yeah.
it can trick your brain very well.
Yeah. No,
you know?
VR is awesome. Like I definitely think there's room for it, especially for Deadhouse. What's this? There's an undead mission equivalent, and the AI for the humans there is based on what humans do. Same with the AI for the undead. Oh, for like the
Right.
Deadhouse VR.
Yeah. Trick NR1, take off doors inside, nail them down with a hammer at the stair at a staircase to the first floor. Now hold the staircase will give you a fighting chance. This trick only works against zombies. That's an interesting one. Now, so this was discussed in the Discord last night. We didn't know there might be zombies or whatever in Deadhouse, but when you listen to Alaric's lore from his of Bloodlines one,
It
that kind of
was
sounds like what the dead sound like, doesn't it?
Yeah, wasn't I know
Hmm.
was it in the one was it the vampire episode where he goes through his childhood
Yeah, yeah.
and is that like a bunch of vampires or is it zombies? Does his dad get turned into a vampire, right? Or is it a zombie? Don't know.
That's the
I think it was
really
a
interesting
vampire, but I don't
question.
know. But yeah, no, like that'd be like so see, I'm gonna run with your house idea. You're locked in a house.
Yes, it's a
And
good
there's a
idea.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea, and it's like a house you can run around and explore, and there's a bunch of
Like
different.
literally the one behind you, like any of those in
Yeah,
that scene
yeah,
behind
yeah,
you.
yeah, exactly. You're in one of those, and like it's a burned down village, and you can leave the house to maybe go to another one, and like your goal maybe is to find things that are resilient to the undead. So board the door up with like silver chains or something, or fire somewhere, whatever,
It's the
and like you have
undead.
to.
Ma, quick, get the silver.
Yeah, exactly. Like the childhood story was either mindless vampire thralls or actual zombies. Yeah, I thought so. That's what I was thinking. Something along with the vampires, maybe, or it could be zombies, like fish people. The freaking drowners in The Witcher are
Mm.
just dead people who drowned and they come back to life.
Sorry, I just
Um,
keep thinking of the most horribly bad like time jokes for all of that. Like, Mom, where's the silverware? You start pulling all the good silver out. It's like, but that's my good silver cup. That's for a special occasion. This is a special occasion. This
yeah, I'm gonna spoon someone to death with a silver spoon.
Hey, we do a lot more damage against any of them than any other weapon you'll pull out.
Yeah, yeah, like see, now you got me my mind racing for what a really cool Deadhouse VR experience would be. Like that could be for the human one. The undead one, like there's a VR game called The Mage's Tale, and it's a spin-off of the Bard's Tale universe where you play as a wizard and you have all these spells. Just do that, but have it be a lich and have freaking a first person VR where you're casting fireballs or cursing people or whatever as a lich, you know? Or you're a ghoul. Maybe you're a ghoul and the VR experience is what the ghoul sees with his sense of smell. Is it like pitch black and kind of like a daredevil vision thing
What was that
or
game that was out before where the character was blind, but you
blind?
could see
Yes.
through like echolocation and
Yeah.
smell? So, like, when something was there, like it gave off a whiff and you could tell by the color what it was, but then,
Yeah.
like, you could like hit things with your stick and it gave basic echolocation like that. That's how I'd imagine
Yeah.
the ghoul
I
sees
know
only on a much
exactly what you're
deeper
talking
level.
about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And so I want to play that game we're
Um,
talking about with Gremlins. It starts as a sort of a stray game, but if they get wet, murder, evil, horror.
it's
Interesting.
called The Veil.
The Veil.
The Veil, and it released last year, I suppose.
The one you were talking about?
Yeah, the one with where you can't see anything.
Hmm. But it's amazing the way we can deal with things with technology now. For example, again, we've plugged this many times on the channel, but anyone else like Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. That game does some phenomenal work just using headphones. It gives an
Yeah.
adequate feeling of like having what like mental illness is like about the
Mhm.
different various types of schizophrenia. Now we're hearing voices, and what's really funny is different voices in different ears, and like some are like below you or above you, and all like this. The spatial awareness on it is incredible. and the way it tries to make you doubt what you're doing, or maybe like doubt what you're not doing, and all with like and this is just with a set of headphones. So imagine what we could do in a few years with the technology with this. In again, niche for VR, but it would make a tremendous VR experience. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. VR, like I think the spatial awareness for VR is really really awesome. Like I have an Oculus Go, the basic hundred, the cheapest VR headset you can get. And I
yeah,
was thinking of installing and booting up the gosh, what do you call it? The Hellblade VR
yeah.
experience,
Mm.
and just doing that with that headset and just plugging the headset into there and just using a keyboard and mouse for everything else. Because man, the way they handle audio in that game is awesome. It's awesome, and like stuff like that is what good VR will make. The
Yes.
first time I experienced stuff like that, when I went wow, was Fear. Yeah, Fear still makes me go wow, and it's a freaking 20-year-old game now, man. That's insane.
That's crazy to think of. That's 20 years old.
I know, right?
We're
Like,
getting on, my friend.
dude, it hurts my soul. Like, oh man, yeah. But no, so like VR is definitely, I think I would like to see VR in the cards for Deadhaus at some point, even if it's a small experience,
I don't
or if
think
it's like an
anything's
outside
out of.
studio.
I don't think
If it's an
anything's
outside
off the
studio,
table. I'd
yeah,
say that could be it. That could, like, if Deadhouse gets its audience the way we all believe it should and hope it should, I don't see that being off the table, to be honest.
yeah,
Because Dennis always loves playing with new technology. So I
hmm
could totally see if someone like pitched the idea, or if someone else came to him saying, "Hey, well, look, we've an idea that we'd want to do this," he would jump right on board with it.
hmm
You know, I could
yeah.
see that being Fear on the hardest difficulty was nail bitingly hard.
I only played Fear on like
Didn't.
normal and easy mode because I know it's ridiculously hard, and the slow mo with the shotgun is awesome.
Speaking of which, you talk about their nail bitingly hard. So, Calypso, when are you going streaming Elden Ring?
I need to make money from that. So if anybody pays me
Uh,
$100, I'll stream
there,
Elden Ring
there
for an
y'all go.
hour.
If everyone subs to Calypso on Twitch, we'll be able to get him to play
Yeah,
Elden
I'll
Ring
play
live
Elden
on
Ring.
stream.
Hmm
Just make sure we get someone with a swear button there. Just
Yeah, I need to work on getting my Stream Deck already. Like that should be my next investment. But with that, I will play Elden Ring eventually in the future. But for now, for the present that we are in now, it's time to wrap this episode up.
Yes.
So, like per usual, if you liked this, you can go ahead and check out anything and everything Deadhouse Sonata related at deadhousesonata.com. Don't forget to check out Deadhouse Sonata on Twitter and Instagram at Deadhouse at Deadhouse Game.
The Deadhaus.
That's HAUS, my friends. Also, Instagram Deadhouse. There's a Reddit. There's a Reddit for Deadhouse. You can follow me, Calypso, on Twitter at Necrolibriatas. You can follow me on YouTube by just typing in anything Deadhouse Sonata related. You can follow Faceless Mike on Twitter at the Faceless Mike, as well as Instagram and Twitch. Go do all the social medias, everybody. There's also a Deadhouse Facebook. And go listen to the radio dramas on Spotify. If you like
And
our
make
stuff,
sure you
can
join the
find us
Discord.
also. Yeah, join the Discord.
Join the Discord. We love having discussions.
Yeah.
Especially with lore. And by the way, every time the radio plays drop when there's a new one, almost always, I can't guarantee every time, but almost always, George Ledoux, the lead voice actor, is there in the chat, and we normally jump in and have a bit of a chat afterwards in the Discord, so you can actually get to talk to him yourself.
Yeah, and he's a nice guy. He's
Really
he's pretty funny too. Yeah, he's funny. Older gamers might know him from Command and Conquer. And gosh, what's the other one? Mech Warrior. Yeah. Yeah, he was in Mech Warrior back in the day. Anyways, go ahead and follow George. Also, I think George is on Twitter at like
George Ledoux.
George Ledoux, yeah.
If you go anywhere, look, George Ledoux, you'll find him.
Yeah. But that's it for this one. I've been Calypso, as well as Faceless Mike, and we will see you guys in the next one.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.